In this video, let's talk about the character of Mavis, the sweet and caring vampire from the Hotel Transylvania franchise. She may be a vampire, but she's far from the scary kind we usually see in stories. Instead, she's known for her kind heart and adventurous spirit. She was born in 1894, right in the heart of Transylvania. Her parents, Count Dracula and his wife, Martha, were completely in love with her. They both dreamed of giving her a life full of happiness, laughter, and love. They wanted her to have the best life possible. But things didn't go as planned. Back in those days, vampires weren't seen as the friendly creatures we know today. Instead, humans thought of them as terrifying monsters. Unfortunately, when Mavis was just a little girl, her mother, Martha, tragically passed away, leaving Mavis without the chance to grow up with her. This heartbreak hit Dracula hard, and he had to raise his daughter all on his own. Despite his powerful, often intimidating exterior, Dracula showed his soft, loving side when it came to Mavis. He worked hard to make sure she grew up safe and loved, but raising her as a single father in a world that feared vampires wasn't easy. Mavis's early years were filled with both love and the sadness of losing her mother too soon. But through it all, Dracula did his best to give her a life full of care and warmth, even if it meant facing some tough challenges. That tragic loss left a deep emotional scar on Dracula, and it filled him with a lot of anger and resentment towards humans. He couldn't shake the fear that something terrible might happen to Mavis too, just like it happened to her mother. So, to protect her from the dangers of the outside world, Dracula made a big decision. He decided to build Hotel Transylvania, a massive safe haven for monsters where they could live in peace, away from humans who might harm them. But here's the thing, while Hotel Transylvania was meant to be a sanctuary, a safe place for monsters, it also became something of a prison for Mavis. Dracula loved her deeply and only wanted to protect her, but his overprotectiveness meant that Mavis couldn't experience the outside world. She wasn't allowed to go beyond the castle walls, which made her feel trapped. Imagine growing up in this big, beautiful castle with everything you could possibly need, but knowing that you're confined to a small space with no chance to explore what's beyond it. That's what Mavis faced. Even though her father's intentions were rooted in love and fear for her safety, Mavis longed for something more.
Aren't I getting a little old for these parties? I love them, but I really want to see new things. Maybe meet somebody my age.
She wanted to see the world, to have adventures, and to live life beyond the confines of the castle. But for most of her life, her dreams of freedom and exploration seemed impossible to achieve, and she was stuck in this world of isolation, surrounded by the same few faces, with only her father's rules to guide her. So, while Dracula was trying to keep her safe from harm, Mavis found herself longing for something bigger and more exciting. The castle, as much as it was a home, felt more like a cage to her, and the desire to break free grew stronger with each passing day. When it comes to Mavis' personality, there's a lot that makes her stand out. She's strong, smart, and curious, with a bit of an attitude to keep things interesting. But what really sets her apart is her kindness. She is sincere and gentle, always thinking of others, and she has this deep desire for adventure that makes her eager to see the world beyond the walls of her home. But the moment that truly changed everything for Mavis was when she met Jonathan. Jonathan was a free-spirited human who accidentally stumbled into Hotel Transylvania, and their meeting was nothing short of a game-changer. From the second they laid eyes on each other, something clicked. Mavis felt an instant connection with him, and just like that, they zinged. It's this magical, undeniable spark that happens when two people are meant to be together. Mavis had never felt anything like it before, and Jonathan felt the same way. That's when their love story really began. But of course, it wasn't going to be easy. Mavis was in love with a human, and her father, Dracula, was definitely not happy about the idea of his daughter being involved with someone from the human world. Dracula's distrust and resentment of humans had been built up over many years, especially after losing Mavis' mother. So, the relationship came with a lot of challenges, but their love was strong, and despite the obstacles and the pushback from Dracula, they made it work. Their love grew, and eventually, they had a child together, a little boy named Dennis. When Mavis became a mom, she showed a whole new side of herself that was both loving and protective. Just like her father Dracula had been overprotective of her for pretty much her whole life, Mavis developed some of those same tendencies with her own son.
She made me baby-proof the whole hotel. Someone's overprotective.
She wanted to make sure he was safe, so she went to extreme lengths, even baby-proofing the entire hotel. It was almost like she was putting up walls to keep any harm away from him, but it was all because of how deeply she loved him and wanted to keep him safe. But what really stands out about her though, is how accepting and understanding she is. Unlike Dracula, who was initially worried about Dennis not being a full vampire, Mavis embraced her son for who he was, knowing that he was a unique and beautiful hybrid of both vampire and human. Where Dracula saw something to be concerned about, Mavis saw something to be proud of. She wasn't focused on what Dennis wasn't, she focused on who he was, and how special he was in his own right. To sum up her character, Mavis is a symbol of love, growth, and courage. She's a living example of how someone can change over time, not only for themselves but for those they love. She started out as a curious, somewhat sheltered girl under Dracula's wing, but over time, she became a strong, independent woman who didn't let fear hold her back. As a mother, she shows how much she's grown, and how deep her love and understanding truly go.
Johnny, look! They're making a TV show about this place and we're the stars! Hello, world!
Awesome!
It's totally awesome!